Have you ever had a crush so overwhelming, so utterly consuming, that just saying hello basically turns your brain to static?
Oh, yeah. And your lugs into Jello.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That specific, agonizing kind of high school terror, it gets glossed over a lot in stories.
Mm.
But what happens when, severe social anxiety meets that kind of intense, idealized first love?
Mm.
And what if all of it is drawn in a style straight out of the 1980s?
Right.
Today, we are taking a deep dive into a series that captures that whole internal struggle just perfectly. Ganbare, Nakamura-kun, or Go For It, Nakamura.
And its sequel, of course.
And its sequel. Our mission here is to figure out why this specific slice-of-life boys love manga, with its unique retro style and focus on vulnerability, didn't just become a critical hit, it became this global social media phenomenon.
And now, probably one of the most anticipated anime of 2026.
Absolutely. We poured over the entire source stack for you. The original manga run from 2014 to 2016, the sequel, all the critical reception, and of course all the new details on the anime production.
What's fascinating here is how the creator, Syundei, pulls off this balancing act. The series is, it's a deliberate departure from a lot of older BL tropes.
So,
Well, it focuses almost entirely on identity, the anxiety of a first crush, and that slow step-by-step journey to self-acceptance. It's a very modern sensitivity on a super nostalgic canvas.
and that canvas is the first thing that just hooks you. Let's jump into the basics.
Yeah.
The original manga ran in Opera Magazine, 2014 to 2016. And the sequel, Go For It, again, Nakamura, ran until 2021. And for those of you just catching up, Seven Seas released a brand new English edition late in 2025.
Perfect timing for the anime hype.
Exactly. So, okay, let's unpack the visuals. If you've seen even one panel, you know it's a comedy, a slice of life. But the art is what makes it feel so special. It's this deliberate 1980s, maybe early 90s retro aesthetic. We're talking clean character design, simple inking. It has this vintage pop feel.
That retro look is so foundational. It's not just a gimmick. Its simplicity gives the emotion so much clarity. You can directly trace Syundei's style back to masters from that era, specifically Rumiko Takahashi.
Well, like Ranma Have or Urusei Yatsura.
Exactly. You see it in the details, like the big kind of fluffy 80s hair and the rounder, softer faces. It just screams innocent openness.
Yeah, totally.
And that style also dictates the comedic timing. Syundei uses really minimalist backgrounds, lots of negative space.
But forces your eye right to the characters.
Right to the characters
Yeah.
and their intensely wacky expressions. It's essential for a comedy that's all about internal panic and slapstick.
And then when he's like lost in a fantasy.
That's when you get the classic shoujo stuff, the flowery panel borders, those fuzzy glow effects, pure dreamy obsession.
And that obsession brings us to the octopus.
Yes, the octopus. It's everywhere. It shows up in the background in his drawings. It's this wonderful, quirky visual for his hidden private world, all the stuff he's terrified of anyone seeing.
Especially his crush.
Especially his crush.
So the art tells us what Nakamura looks like, but what fuels that explosive secret life? Let's dive into the core of the story. The crush dynamic.
Okay.
So our protagonist, Okuto Nakamura, he is a closeted, deeply, deeply socially anxious 16-year-old. And he's just paralyzed by this massive crush on his classmate, Aiki Hirose.
Every single interaction is life or death for him.
Completely. He's the textbook adorkable klutz. He's left-handed, a huge Charlie Chaplin fan, thinks of himself as plain, and yes, he owns that pet octopus Ichan.
And that shyness just guarantees some kind of, public humiliation is always just around the corner.
For every chapter.
But you have to look past the klutziness to really get his psychology, his social paralysis. It makes him come across to other students as kind of gloomy.
Or even creepy.
Which just feeds the anxiety cycle. And what gives the series its edge is that this crush it's almost clinical.
What do you mean?
He doesn't just like Hirose, he obsesses.
Yeah.
He eavesdrops on conversations just to learn about hobbies. And the source material highlights this one detail. He steals a cassette tape.
Just to hear his voice.
Just to listen to his crush's voice at home.
That detail is so...
Ah.
It's tragic and hilarious at the same time. You can't tell if you should laugh or just feel horrible for him.
And that's the tightrope Syundei walks. It grounds the painful reality of a first, all-consuming crush when you have no idea how to channel that energy in a healthy way.
And then on the other side, we have the object of that affection, Aiki Hirose. He is the light to Nakamura's shadow.
The ideal, dreamy classmate.
Totally. Optimistic, kind, he's on the health committee, and he loves dogs, which Nakamura immediately tries to use to his advantage.
Of course.
And he also has these great random teenage traits. Like he has an amazing memory, and he can do a perfect machine gun sound effect imitation.
Hirose's role is so essential. He starts off as this sweetly oblivious target, which you need for the comedy to work. He has no idea about the romantic intensity being beamed his way.
None at all.
But he has depth, and this is where he really gets to Nakamura. He has this cognitive sharpness. He remembers tiny details about people.
Like that Nakamura's left-handed.
Exactly, or what kind of cake he likes. And that just floors Nakamura. It shows that even when he feels invisible, Hirose sees him.
But he has his own struggles, too, right?
Yeah, he's a total people pleaser. He really struggles to express any kind of disagreeable feeling, and that's the emotional hurdle he has to get over as the story goes on.
So if we look at the narrative structure, the whole series is basically built on failed communication. Every chapter has this fantastic comedic formula we call the failed mission.
Right.
Nakamura comes up with a painfully simple plan, like returning a dropped napkin or joining the health committee.
Something anyone else could do in 5 seconds.
Right. But his nervousness and clumsiness they inevitably lead to some spectacular failure or public embarrassment. We watch the mental breakdown happen in real time.
And the comedy gets ramped up by his delusions. My favorite is how he uses this fictional BL manga he reads, Love Bento, as his only guide for romance.
Oh, yeah. He imagines himself and Hirose in these over-the-top scenarios.
Like fighting off rivals while standing on a pile of wilted roses.
It's the author winking at us, reminding us that his entire idea of love is based on fiction, not reality.
Exactly. But let me challenge that structure a little bit.
Yeah.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the failed mission repetition is doing more than just comedy.
Wait, couldn't you also see that repetition as just padding? Or, I don't know, maybe frustrating for a reader who just wants them to talk already.
You'd think so. And for some readers, yeah, it is frustrating. But for anyone who identifies with anxiety, that repetition is the point. The series shows that anxiety isn't a one-time thing you get over. It's a constant, repetitive, paralyzing loop. And the core themes are revealed through that loop.
Okay.
First, you have identity and first love. It's all about a closeted teen moving towards self-acceptance. Second, idealization versus reality.
Right. He has to learn that Hirose isn't a perfect angel. He's a real person.
Exactly. Moving from adoration of an ideal to affection for a person. And that ties into authenticity. Nakamura's constant struggle between hiding his weird side, the octopus, Love Bento, and finding the courage to share it.
And finally, just wholesomeness.
Wholesomeness. By prioritizing that emotional connection, the manga became this palate cleanser. It intentionally rejected some of the harmful tropes you saw in older BL, and in the mid-2010s, that felt really fresh and necessary.
It's a story that earns its intimacy so slowly. The whole first volume builds to one single crucial moment.
Yeah.
The Yokohama field trip.
The turning point.
Yeah. Nakamura gets lost, has a full-on panic attack, and Hirose finds him. It forces Nakamura out of his fantasy world and lets them finally connect on a real level.
And that connection is huge. The outcome is they establish a reciprocal friendship. He goes from secret observer, the stalker, to an acknowledged buddy. It's a massive, quiet victory.
Then the sequel spends years deepening that trust.
It does. The dynamic shifts from buddy-buddy to real emotional intimacy. Nakamura gains courage. He's not just a stalker anymore. He's Hirose's confidant.
And what's so important in the sequel is that Hirose starts to grow, too. He's not just passive anymore. He becomes an active participant.
Absolutely. The defining moment in the sequel is when Hirose feels safe enough to confide a deeply personal secret in Nakamura about a past relationship. That establishes an exclusive trust between them. It solidifies their bond as something really profound.
And that leads us right into fan reception. Because like any story this personal, there's a lot of love, but also a few things that really divided people.
For sure.
On the most praised side, the art, the Love Bento bits, the emotional payoff of the field trip, everyone loves those.
And people also love the rare moments where Hirose gets kind of assertive, almost scary.
The cockroach incident.
The cockroach incident, yes.
Yeah.
But there are two big criticisms you see over and over.
Okay.
First, Hirose's intense admiration for their teacher, Mr. Otagiri. It's played for laughs, for Nakamura's jealousy, but the closeness there makes some fans really uncomfortable.
I can see that. And the second one?
The second one is Nakamura's own creepy behavior. We mentioned the cassette tape, but there's also a moment where he sniffs a sleeping Hirose.
Oh.
Yeah. Syundei chose to include these boundary-pushing moments, and it really polarized readers.
Why do you think the author risked that? I mean, it kind of undercuts the whole wholesome vibe.
I think it's intentional honesty. Syundei is showing that a first crush, especially when it's tied up with that much anxiety, is messy, it's obsessive, it's awkward.
So it makes him feel more real.
Right. It forces you to confront the line between harmless fantasy and invasive behavior. It makes Nakamura a complex teenager, not just a clean archetype.
And then there's the ending. Fans really debated that one.
Oh, yeah. The ellipses ending. There's no big getting together moment. No confession, no first kiss.
So it just ends.
It ends with their bond having become this profound trust, but the romance is still kind of suspended. Hirose is still mostly oblivious.
So while critics loved the focus on self-acceptance, a lot of fans felt denied the romantic payoff they'd been waiting years for.
Precisely. The author's intent was clearly about celebrating Nakamura's journey and building that emotional foundation. For critics, that quiet triumph was way more valuable than a rushed romance.
And that focus on character is what led to the critical acclaim.
Yeah.
It ranked 16th in the 2018 BL Awards, and critics just loved how it subverted tropes.
Calling it a special treat for LGBT audiences because of that genuine dedication to character.
And of course, on social media, it just blew up. Fan edits, TikToks. It kept the buzz going for years and really cemented it as a modern classic. Which brings us to where things get really interesting, the adaptations. There was a 2021 audio drama with veteran voice actors Kappei Yamaguchi and Junko Takuchi.
Stars from Inuyasha and Naruto. Huge names.
Huge. And the great news is they were confirmed to return for the 2026 anime, just in new, unannounced roles.
The hype for the anime is massive, and the details look so promising. It's from Studio Drive, who are doing Konosuba Season 3.
Good sign.
And it's being directed by Aoi Umeki, who's also doing the character designs and script. That kind of unified vision is rare and so important.
What about the main cast?
Also great, Chiaki Kobayashi is voicing Nakamura, Yuki Sakakihara is Hirose, and you have Takuya Eguchi as the teacher, Otagiri and Furi's Eye as the friend, Kawamura.
And they are leaning so hard into the nostalgia with the music. I love this.
Me too.
They're using actual 80s and 90s theme songs. The opening is Glory Days by Senryo, and the ending is a cover of a Princess hit.
It's the perfect match for the art style, a definitive throwback.
Yeah. And for everyone listening, Crunchyroll is already set to stream it globally in 2026, so this deep dive is going to reach a huge audience.
For sure.
So to summarize this deep dive, Ganbare, Nakamura-kun, really succeeds because of this perfect alchemy. The comforting retro style, the deeply relatable social anxiety, and a rewarding slow burn relationship built on real trust, not just fantasy romance.
It's a story about the bravery it takes just to exist and connect.
Exactly.
This raises an important question, though. We've established that the core theme is the bravery required to see your crush not as an untouchable fantasy, but as a real, flawed person. So, despite the manga's 80s and 90s aesthetic, the floppy hair, the bright art, how does its focus on anxiety, authenticity, and finding trust in a first relationship make it maybe one of the most resonant and necessary queer stories for modern audiences? Especially today, with social media and information overload, where real vulnerability can feel almost impossible.
That's a really good question.
It gives you something to mull over before the anime drops.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. It really helps the channel grow. See you in the next one.